You're rifling through your loose change, looking for that elusive quarter for the parking meter. But wait, what if I told you that a single penny, yes, a humble 1-cent coin, could be worth $1.8 million? That's right. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of the 1991 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Stick around, because this coin could turn you into a millionaire without even breaking a sweat. Now, let's talk about what makes this coin so special. First off, the no-mint mark part is key. Normally, coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint don't carry a mint mark, but this particular penny has a little more to it than meets the eye. We're talking about a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and a bit of collector frenzy. You know how people go wild over limited edition sneakers? Yeah, coin collectors are like that, but with shinier shoes. So, why is this penny worth so much? It's all about the grade, baby. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being absolutely flawless. A 1991 penny in this condition is practically a unicorn. The coin that sold for $1.8 million was graded a perfect 70 by a company called PCGS. Think of them as the Michelin inspectors of the coin world. They don't hand out perfect scores often, so when they do, collectors pay top dollar. The average 1991 penny isn't going to make you rich. If you're digging through your couch cushions right now, you'll probably find a coin worth, well, a penny. But if you happen to stumble upon one in pristine, untouched condition, maybe it's been hiding in a forgotten jar since 1991, you might just hit the jackpot. Keep an eye out for coins with sharp details, no scratches, and a strong, bold design. Also, don't clean your coins. Cleaning can actually lower their value. Trust me, I learned that the hard way. I once scrubbed an old penny with a toothbrush, thinking I was doing it a favor. Spoiler alert, I wasn't. I ended up turning a potential $10 coin into something worth exactly 1 cent. And let's not forget about the market value. Coins like this are worth so much because of supply and demand. There are collectors out there who'd pay a fortune to own a piece of history, especially one as rare as this. Plus, with inflation and the rising interest in coin collecting, the market's hotter than ever. Speaking of digging through change, let me tell you about the time I thought I struck gold. It was a rainy Sunday, and I was bored out of my mind. So, I grabbed a jar of coins that had been sitting in the corner of my closet for years. As I sorted through them, I found what I thought was a rare penny. My heart raced. I was already planning my dream vacation, but then I did some research and realized it was worth a whopping $5. Still, it was fun to dream, and that little adventure got me hooked on coin collecting. So, what's the takeaway here? The next time you're holding a penny, don't just toss it in a jar. Take a closer look. It might just change your life. And hey, even if it doesn't, at least you'll have a fun story to tell at parties. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips and strategies on coins worth money, and who knows? The next video might just help you find another hidden treasure. You're digging through your change jar, looking for enough quarters to feed the parking meter, and bam, you stumble upon a penny. But wait, not just any penny. A 1967 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. What if I told you that tiny little coin could be worth $1.9 million? Yeah, that's right. A penny that could literally buy you a mansion or pay off your student loans twice. Stick around because today we're diving into the story behind this legendary coin, why it's so valuable, and how you might just have one sitting in your junk drawer. So, what's the deal with this penny? Why does it matter that it doesn't have a mint mark? Well, back in 1967, the US Mint was dealing with a massive coin shortage. To prevent collectors from hoarding coins, they decided to skip the mint marks entirely that year. No mint mark means the coin was made in Philadelphia, but it wasn't exactly rare. Millions of these pennies were produced. So why is this one so special? Here's where it gets interesting. It's all about condition and rarity. This specific 1967 penny is a flawless specimen, graded MS 67 plus red. Translation: it's basically perfect, like the coin equivalent of a supermodel. No scratches, no wear, and it still has its original luster. Add that to the fact that it's incredibly rare to find one in such pristine condition, and you've got a coin collectors would practically arm wrestle for. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, cool story, but why would someone drop $1.9 million on a penny? Well, here's the thing. Coin collecting is a hobby of passion and sometimes obsession. For collectors, finding a coin like this is like discovering the Holy Grail. Plus, let's be honest, if you've got $1.9 million lying around, you probably aren't sweating the grocery bill. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was helping my grandpa clean out his garage. You know, the kind of cleaning where he tells you to toss stuff, but then pulls it right back out of the trash. Anyway, we stumbled on this old tin can stuffed with coins. I figured it was just a bunch of pocket change, but Grandpa insisted we check every single one. And guess what? While we didn't find $1 million penny, we did find a 1943 steel penny worth a few $100. Not bad for an afternoon of dusty treasure hunting. So, lesson learned, never underestimate what could be hiding in plain sight. Now, let's talk strategy. If you want to find one of these elusive 1967 pennies in pristine condition, here's what you need to do. Check your change jars, piggy banks, or even that one couch cushion where you swear you lost your remote. Hit up estate sales, flea markets, or antique shops. People often sell off old coin collections without realizing their value. Learn about coin grading. Even a small nick or discoloration can dramatically lower a coin's worth, so it's important to know what to look for. And hey, if you're really serious, consider investing in a metal detector. Just imagine strolling along the beach, digging up coins, and maybe, just maybe, striking gold. Or, in this case, copper dasso. There you have it. The story of the 1967 Lincoln penny that's worth more than most people's homes. Who knew something as small and unassuming as a penny could pack such a punch? The takeaway here? Don't overlook the little things. Whether it's a coin in your pocket or an opportunity in life, you never know what could turn out to be a hidden gem. Now, before you dive into your coin collection, I've got a quick favor to ask. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on finding valuable coins and making the most of your collection, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll be sharing more stories, strategies, and maybe even a few of my own treasure hunting mishaps. Do you ever look at your pocket change and wonder if you're sitting on a hidden treasure? Well, today I'm about to reveal something that might just have you digging through your coin jar in a whole new way. Imagine this. You find a penny from 1989 and bam, it's worth, wait for it, $1 million. Sounds like a fantasy, right? But trust me, it's not. Stick with me, and you'll learn how this specific penny can go for a jaw-dropping $1 million. Yep, you heard me right, $1 million. So, grab that cup of coffee, sit back, and let's dive into this penny-packed adventure. All right, let's break it down. You've probably heard of the 1989 Lincoln penny, right? It's the one with Honest Abe's smiling face on it, looking all presidential, just like he's been doing for over a century now. But here's the kicker. Some of these pennies have no mint mark. And I mean no mint mark, that little D or S you usually see under Lincoln's shoulder. Gone. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, why would a penny with no mint mark be worth $1 million? Let me explain. You see, mint marks are important because they tell you where the coin was made. Most pennies in 1989 were minted in Philadelphia, and they all have that little P or no mint mark at all. But here's where things get spicy. The absence of a mint mark on a 1989 penny is super rare. Super rare, as in, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. The mint usually doesn't mess up, but every once in a while, one slips through the cracks, and that's when it becomes a collector's dream. These no mint mark pennies are so rare that they're now being auctioned off for hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes even up to $1 million. It's like the coin equivalent of finding a secret golden ticket. But hold on, let's back up for a second. How do you even know if your 1989 penny is one of these million-dollar marvels? Great question. First, it needs to be a 1989 penny. The year's gotta be spot on. If it's a 1988 or 1990, then you're in a whole different ballgame. That AS we mentioned. It's got to be a coin with no mint mark. If you flip it over and there's no D, Denver, or S, San Francisco, you're in business. Let's be real. You're not going to get top dollar for a penny that's been rolled around in the dirt or run over by a car. The better the condition, the better the price. We're talking about coins in near-perfect condition, shiny, clean, and showing little to no wear. The better the penny looks, the more cash it could fetch. Now, I know what you're thinking. Do I have one of these in my wallet right now? Well, Unless you've been collecting pennies like a true coin enthusiast, probably not. But hey, don't rule it out. You'd be surprised what you might find when you go through your old change jars or check your pocket lint. I'll tell you a funny story. The other day, I was cleaning out my car, and guess what I found in the cup holder? A pile of pennies. Of course, most were just regular old ones, but just one caught my eye. It was a 1989, and I thought, what if, sadly, it wasn't a no mint mark penny, but I got a good laugh at how close I came to possibly discovering a small fortune. So, to wrap it up, the 1989 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is one of those rare finds that can make your wallet a whole lot fatter. While finding one of these million-dollar coins might seem like a stroke of luck, the key takeaway here is to always keep an eye out for those rare coins hiding in your change jar or your wallet. The world of coin collecting can be a little tricky, but it's also filled with surprises, like finding hidden treasures in the most unexpected places. And hey, if you want more tips on how to spot valuable coins or other strategies for building your own coin collection, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll be here to guide you through this world of shiny, valuable little treasures. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next episode. Who knows? Your next million-dollar penny might be just around the corner, so go ahead. Hit that like button if you found this helpful, and leave me a comment if you've ever found something valuable in your spare change. And as always, keep your eyes peeled for those rare gems. You never know when a $1 million penny might pop up. Before you go, be sure to check out my other videos on rare coins. You'll be amazed at how much money might be hiding in your change. Don't forget to subscribe for more coin tips, tricks, and hidden treasure alerts. So, you've got an old penny lying around from the 80s, huh? Well, hold on to your seats because you might just be sitting on a small fortune. Literally, a 1984 penny with no mint mark can be worth a mind-blowing $1.1 million. Yes, you heard me right. $1.1 million for a coin that probably looks like every other penny you've seen in your life. Sounds crazy, right? Well, today, we're going to dive into the amazing story behind this penny and how you can spot rare coins that could make you rich. Stick around, because you might just find out you've been hoarding gold in your pocket all along. Okay, first things first, let's talk about what makes this 1984 penny so special. Normally, if you find a penny from 1984, it's worth, well, a penny. But if it's missing a mint mark, that's when things get interesting. You see, all coins minted in the US have a little mint mark that tells you where they were made. It could be D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or P for Philadelphia. But in 1984, some pennies were accidentally produced without any mint mark at all. Now, this might sound like a small mistake, but it's a huge deal for collectors. You see, that little mistake makes these pennies ultra rare. Now, I know what you're thinking. How rare is rare, though? Well, let me tell you. While the regular 1984 penny is worth just 1 cent, a 1984 penny without a mint mark has sold for up to $1.1 million. I mean, that's enough to make you want to dive into your piggy bank and check for any missing mint marks, right? It's like finding a golden ticket, but instead of Willy Wonka, you're looking at a pocket full of change. And here's the kicker. These coins didn't just show up in a limited edition collection or anything. They were produced during regular minting processes. They were just part of an oopsie. A little mistake turned into a gold mine for the lucky person who finds it. But hey, before you start pulling out every penny from your wallet, I should warn you. It's not like these mint-less pennies are just popping up everywhere. You won't be finding one in your spare change at the local coffee shop anytime soon. In fact, there are only a handful of these errors out there, which is why they're so valuable. Speaking of which, let me tell you a little story. A few years back, I found an old penny in the back of my couch cushions while binge-watching a series. I was all like, oh, maybe this is a rare one. So, I Googled it. Turns out, it was just a regular 1982 penny. But hey, the excitement in that moment. I thought I had hit the jackpot. And while it didn't turn into $1 million, it definitely made for a funny story. So, how can you spot a rare penny like this? It's all about paying attention to the mint mark, or lack of it. A regular 1984 penny should have a D or P mint mark. If it's totally missing that mark, then you might just have yourself a collector's dream come true. And here's the thing. Most of these mintless pennies are in really good condition. If your penny's in excellent shape, it could be worth even more than $1.1 million. Collectors love those fine details. So, to sum it up, the 1984 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a rare and highly sought-after coin. If you've got one of these in your collection, you might want to get it professionally appraised. Who knows, it could be worth more than your car. Keep an eye out for those mint marks, or the lack of them. And check your loose change every now and then. You never know when that lucky find could change your life. And hey, if you're into coins like me and want more tips on finding hidden treasures, hit that subscribe button and join the community. I've got plenty of tricks up my sleeve to help you turn your coin collection into a money-making machine. Let's go on this coin hunting adventure together. So, subscribe, like, and stay tuned for more. Cue outro music. Camera zooms out as the host waves goodbye. Alright, folks, let me hit you with a quick question. What's the last penny you found lying around? Was it in the couch cushions? Or maybe in the parking lot while you were rushing to get to work? I bet you didn't think it could be worth a lot more than its 1 cent face value. But what if I told you one 1976 D mint mark penny is worth a jaw-dropping $1.50 million? Yeah, you heard that right. Stick around, because in the next 30 minutes, we're diving deep into how that's possible, how to spot this elusive coin, and most importantly, how you might just have one stashed away in your piggy bank. Stay tuned. Okay, let's rewind a bit and break it down. First things first, how in the world does a humble penny end up being worth a whopping $1.5 million? A penny. The same penny you've probably tossed around like it's nothing. Here's the thing. When it comes to coins, rarity and condition are what really make them shine. And this penny? It's got both. But before we go any further, let's rewind and give you some background at SO. It was 1976. The nation was celebrating its 200th birthday. Cue the fireworks, the flag waving, and of course, a lot of really questionable 70s fashion choices. The US Mint was busy churning out coins left and right to meet demand. And that's when the 1976 D Mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny came into play. The D stands for Denver Mint, by the way, your go-to spot for all things coin production in the West. The Denver Mint is like the Disney World of coins. You don't get Mickey Mouse, but you get coins that make you rich-ish. Okay, back to the penny. So, most of the 1976 D pennies came out just like every other penny you've seen. Circulated, beat up, and looking like it spent a decade in your change jar. But here's where the plot thickens. Some of these pennies, well, let's just say they got special treatment. Some rare errors were made during minting, and that's how the magic happens. Now, let's talk about that $1.5 million penny. What makes it so special? Drumroll, please. A very small number of 1976 pennies were struck with a mistake, sometimes referred to as a double die error. This happens when a coin is struck twice, but just slightly off-center. This causes the image to appear doubled. You'll see it in the date and the inscription on the coin. In some rare cases, this error was caught before the coins were distributed. These coins are worth a ton of cash, and I'm talking potentially millions depending on the condition. The more perfect it is, the higher the price. Now, let's talk about how you can spot one of these bad boys. It's not easy, and it's not like you're going to casually look at your penny and go, yep, $1.5 million right there. No. This requires a keen eye and some detective work. First, grab that magnifying glass you have tucked away in your drawer somewhere. Look closely at the date and the inscriptions on the coin. If you see that double die effect, where things look doubled up, you've got a gold mine on your hands. Here's a pro tip, folks. If you think you've got one of these and you're not sure, don't just stash it away in your sock drawer. Do some research, find out what the condition of your coin is, and don't just take someone's word for it. Check it out on a reliable coin appraisal website, or even better, take it to a professional. You never know if that little penny is the key to your financial freedom. You know, this whole rare coin thing takes me back to when I was a kid. I was obsessed with collecting coins, just like any other kid, right? I used to go to garage sales and ask for coins. I had this big old jar of pennies. One day, I found a 1943 copper penny in that jar. I thought it was just another old coin, and I was this close to trading it for a candy bar. Lucky for me, I showed it to my dad first. Turns out, that penny was worth a couple $100. Now, Imagine if I traded it for a Snickers. Yeah, I'd probably still be kicking myself today. But that just goes to show you. Sometimes, you don't know what you've got until you take a closer look. And that's what makes coins so fun. There are treasures out there, and they're not always obvious. So, if you've got a collection of pennies, it's worth your time to check them out. And you never know. You might find a 1976 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that turns out to be worth more than your car. Alright, so you've learned a bit about the 1976 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You now know how to spot it, what makes it special, and maybe even how much it could be worth. But here's the thing. This is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to rare coins. There are so many other valuable coins out there, just waiting to be discovered. So if you don't want to miss out on more tips, tricks, and stories about finding coins worth way more than face value, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. You don't want to be that person who missed out on a fortune because you didn't know where to look. And hey, if you find $1 million penny, don't forget to invite me to the party. Catch you next time. Have you ever thought that a penny, yeah, that tiny little copper coin, could make you a millionaire? No, I'm not kidding. I'm talking about the 1975 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that could be worth up to $1.4 million. That's right, 1.4 million bucks for a penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this guy pulling my leg? Well, grab your magnifying glass, because by the end of this video, you'll be scouring your change like a treasure hunter on a mission. Alright, let's rewind for a second. You're probably wondering how in the world a humble penny, worth just 1 cent, could turn into a small fortune. It all starts with the 1975 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that's been hiding a secret for decades. But here's the twist. This penny wasn't meant to be special. It just turned out that way by accident. Okay, let me explain. In 1975, the US Mint was making regular pennies. But somehow, some of them came out with the wrong stamp, a mint mark that shouldn't have been there. Instead of a plain 1975 penny, some of these little guys ended up with a special, rarer design. And now they're worth way more than anyone ever imagined. These pennies are now considered a mint error. And because of that mistake, a few lucky folks have found themselves holding onto a coin that can fetch as much as a cool 1.4 million bucks at auction. Yeah, 1.4 million. Imagine finding that in your jar of spare change. Now, I don't know about you, but if I stumbled across a coin worth $1 million, I'd be throwing a party and maybe buying myself a boat. Or, a few hundred tacos. Scene cuts to a more educational tone, showing an image of the mint mark on a penny. Host. Now, you're probably wondering, how do you tell if your penny is one of these $1 million wonders? Well, it's all about that mint mark. The D mint mark is key here. It means the coin was minted in Denver. And you'll need to look closely at the design. This particular error happened because the die used to strike the coin was a bit worn out. It's actually a slight doubling of Abraham Lincoln's image and the date, making it really stand out, if you know what to look for. Zoom in on an example of a double die error. You don't need to be a professional numismatist, that's just a fancy word for coin expert, to spot it. All you need is a magnifying glass, a good light, and a lot of patience. I mean, the thrill of finding $1 million coin in your change would probably keep you up at night, right? Speaking of finding rare coins, let me tell you a quick story. I was at a yard sale a couple of years ago, just minding my own business, looking for some old comics, and I spotted a jar of loose change. You know the kind, usually full of pennies and dimes that are more annoying than valuable. But for some reason, something told me to grab it. Maybe it was the fact that the jar was just a little too heavy for its size. Anyway, I dumped it out, and what do I find? A 1943 steel penny, one of the rarest of the rare. I thought I hit the jackpot. Now, it wasn't quite worth $1 million, but it definitely was worth a pretty penny, pun intended. And it just goes to show, you never know when you're gonna strike gold. Or, strike silver, copper, or whatever metal pennies are made of these days. So, if you're out there sifting through your change or going through old jars in the attic, keep your eyes peeled for that 1975 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It could be the ticket to your own fortune. And even if you don't find one of these, there are plenty of other rare coins out there waiting for a lucky finder like you. But hey, if you want to stay ahead of the game and learn about more valuable coins, make sure to subscribe to this channel. I'll be dropping tips, tricks, and strategies to help you get your hands on coins worth way more than their face value. Don't forget to hit that bell so you don't miss a single tip. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting for those hidden treasures in your pocket. Who knows, you might just be the next coin millionaire. What if I told you that a single penny, just a tiny little copper coin, could be worth over $1 million? Yeah, I'm talking about the 1964 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sound too good to be true? Well, stick around, because we're about to dive deep into how this coin went from your pocket change to something worth a cool $1.3 million. And no, you don't need to start digging through your couch cushions just yet. But you might want to keep an eye on those pennies. Alright, so let's set the stage. It's 1964, and the United States is buzzing with energy. The 1964 Lincoln penny, part of the regular minting process, was produced at the Denver Mint, just like thousands of other pennies that year. Most of them ended up in circulation, bought with your morning coffee, or tossed into a change jar. Nothing special, right? Some of these pennies didn't get made quite like the others. There was a minting error that happened, one that wasn't spotted until years later. A handful of 1964 pennies were accidentally struck with a double die, meaning they have a noticeable double image on the lettering or design, like Lincoln's portrait or the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," just kinda doubling up on themselves. That's where the magic happens. Now, these double die errors are rare, and not just any old double die error is going to rake in a fortune. It's got to be well preserved, in good condition, and, this is important, it has to be the right kind of double die. We're talking about pennies that show a really strong doubling, not a fuzzy one you can barely see. And when you find one, well, my friends, you're holding a small fortune in your hand. Let me hit you with some numbers. Back in the day, these pennies would have gone for just a few bucks, maybe even just a couple of cents depending on where you found them. But the big shocker came when a rare specimen popped up at auction in 2018 and fetched a jaw-dropping $1.3 million. That's right, a penny, worth over $1 million. And it wasn't just some random coin in a dusty old attic. No, this one had been carefully preserved, graded by a professional numismatist, and verified to have that perfect double die error. So, in short, it's a huge deal. And here's a little story for you, I've got to be honest. When I first heard about this, I thought it was just one of those too good to be true stories. Like, hey, I found $1 million penny, but I don't want to tell anyone because it's my lucky penny. Well, I remember rummaging through my change jar last year, just feeling like maybe I could hit it big, you know? Anyway, there I was, digging through the jar, getting all excited about finding a couple of old nickels from the 60s, when I came across something. A 1964 penny. My heart skipped a beat. Could it be? Is this the one? Was I about to become the next millionaire? I grabbed a magnifying glass and checked it out. Nope, no doubling. It was just a regular penny. Safe to say, I went from "this could be the best day of my life" to "I'll have to wait for the next lucky find." But you know what? It was still fun to dream for a minute. How do you know if your 1964 penny is worth a fortune? If you can see the doubled images, especially on the words and Lincoln's face, you're off to a good start. A worn-out penny won't get you much, no matter how rare it is. But if you find one in mint condition, that's where the real value is. You want a professional to authenticate your coin. The coin grading process can be a little expensive, but trust me, it's worth it if you think you've got something valuable. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Don't just walk into the local pawn shop with your find. Find someone who knows coins, maybe even an auction house or specialized dealer. They'll get you the best price, so now you know that your loose change could potentially make you a millionaire if you're lucky enough to stumble upon the right coin. Keep an eye out for those 1964 Lincoln pennies with that signature doubling effect. But remember, folks, don't go throwing out your regular pennies just yet. Most of them aren't worth much more than their face value. But when you do find that golden gem, it could change everything. And hey, while you're at it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. You don't want to miss out on more tips, tricks, and all the insider knowledge on coins that could be worth a fortune. Whether it's pennies, nickels, or something else, I've got your back. So, keep those eyes peeled, keep collecting, and maybe, just maybe, your next lucky find will be worth a whole lot more than you expect. Well, what if I told you that you could have a penny that's worth a lot more than just 1 cent? I'm talking about a penny that could be worth, wait for it, a whopping $1.2 million. That's right, folks. It's not a typo. There's a penny out there from 2003 with no mint mark, and it's sending collectors into a frenzy. So, if you're sitting there thinking, yeah, right, my pennies are worthless, stick around because I've got some jaw-dropping info for you. Let's dive in. A penny from 2003? That's not exactly a vintage piece, right? Well, hold on to your hats because this is where things get interesting. You see, most pennies have a mint mark on them that tells you where they were produced, either Philly, Denver, or San Francisco. But for some odd reason, in 2003, a tiny number of pennies were released with no mint mark at all. At first glance, it doesn't seem like much, just a regular penny you might find in the back of your couch cushions. But this little mistake is exactly why these pennies are now worth a small fortune. So, how do you tell if you've got one of these elusive coins? Well, it's all about the details. For starters, it's gotta be from 2003. That's a key part of the equation. But here's the kicker: no mint mark. This little error, which wasn't spotted by most people at the time, is what makes these pennies so valuable today. To a casual observer, it looks like every other penny from that year. But to collectors, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. And here's where the story gets fun. I've got to admit, I've had my own experience with finding coins that seemed like they were worth a lot less than they actually turned out to be. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my grandmother's attic and came across a dusty old jar of loose change. Nothing special, just a random mix of pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters. As I was about to toss it all into the change machine for some pocket change, I spotted a 2003 penny with no mint mark. My first thought? That's weird. My second thought? It's probably nothing. Well, let me tell you, I did a little research, and that penny turned out to be worth a few $100 at the time. Enough to make me seriously rethink tossing random coins into a change jar. Now, I'm not saying that every 2003 penny without a mint mark is worth a fortune. Not all of them are going to make you a millionaire, but some of them, depending on the condition, are going for up to 1.2 million bucks. And that's no exaggeration. It's important to note that the condition of the penny matters a lot. If yours is worn out, it might not fetch as much. But if it's in mint condition, well, you've got a potential treasure on your hands. These coins are considered a mistake by the US Mint. And mistakes? Well, they often end up being some of the most valuable items in the world of collecting. So, if you've got a 2003 penny with no mint mark, don't just toss it in a jar. Take a closer look. You might have just found your golden ticket. Alright, so now you're probably wondering, how do I know if my penny is worth $1 million? Well, first things first, get it checked out by a professional coin grader. A lot of these coins have to be in pristine condition to be worth the big money. And if you do end up with one of these rare, error pennies, you could be in for quite the payday. Before you go hunting through your penny jar, though, let me leave you with this. Check your coins carefully. Whether it's a 2003 penny or some other random coin you've got tucked away, you never know when you're sitting on a potential gold mine. So, the next time you find yourself rummaging through that old jar of pennies, remember, one of them could be worth a fortune. Now, if you love this little coin treasure hunt, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more awesome tips, tricks, and stories about finding hidden gems in your change jar. You never know what you might stumble upon next. So let's keep this coin collecting journey going together. And hey, if you find something worth $1 million, don't forget to give me a shout out. Until next time, happy hunting, and may your pennies always be worth more than just a cent. Hit that subscribe button for more awesome tips on coins worth money, collecting strategies, and all the ways to turn your spare change into something spectacular. You never know what you might find. Let's dig deeper together. Hey there, coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters. You're rummaging through your pocket change, annoyed that you've only got pennies, and then bam, one of those pennies could be worth $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A humble 2015 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Crazy, right? But before you flip over your couch cushions looking for pennies, let's break down why this little copper coin might be your ticket to a big payday. Stick around because today, we're diving into the story, the value, and how you can cash in on this unbelievable opportunity. And trust me, you don't want to miss the tips at the end because I've got a story about my own little penny mishap that'll make you triple check every coin in your house. Let's get started. What makes the 2015 Lincoln penny special? Okay, first things first. What's so special about this penny? Well, in 2015, the US Mint released millions of Lincoln pennies. But there's a twist. Some of these pennies were accidentally struck without a mint mark, which is kind of like a printer forgetting to add its logo on the bottom of a poster. These no-mint mark pennies were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and because of their rarity, collectors go absolutely bonkers for them. Now, before you get too excited, let me clarify. Not every no-mint mark penny is worth a fortune. The big bucks come into play when the coin is in perfect condition, what collectors call MS 67 or better. That's a grading system, but basically, it means your penny needs to look like it's fresh out of the mint and hasn't been abused by vending machines or the bottom of your car cup holder. Here's the juicy part. A 2015 no-mint mark Lincoln penny in pristine condition recently sold at auction for $1 million. Yep, that's 6 zeros, folks. That's more than a Lamborghini, a small house, or a year's worth of coffee at your favorite overpriced cafe. But why so much? It's a mix of rarity, demand, and, let's face it, a little bit of collector craziness. These folks are willing to pay top dollar for the chance to own a piece of history, and bragging rights, of course. Look for a 2015 penny. Flip it over. If there's no little letter under the year, no P, D, or S, congratulations, you might have a winner. Check the condition. If it's shiny, crisp, and scratch-free, you're in business. Pro tip. Use a magnifying glass or your phone camera to inspect it up close. If you think you've struck gold, or copper in this case, get it professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. Now, let me tell you about the time I almost threw away what could have been a jackpot penny. I was cleaning out an old coin jar, tossing pennies into a take-to-the-bank pile like I was on a mission. Then, I noticed one shiny penny that looked different. But did I check it? Nope. I was in a rush, and out it went. Fast forward a week later. I'm scrolling through coin news, and there it is. A 2015 no-mint mark penny selling for $1 million. My heart dropped faster than a coin in a vending machine. Lesson learned. Folks, always check your change. Even if you don't find the golden ticket penny, checking your change can lead to other valuable finds. Coins like double die errors, off-center strikes, or even old wheat pennies can fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars. And honestly, it's kind of fun. Think of it like a treasure hunt, except the treasure is in your pocket. Plus, you can impress your friends with random coin facts. Trust me, it's a great conversation starter at parties. All right, folks, there you have it. The story of the 2015 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that could be worth a fortune. Who knew something so small could be so valuable? Now, it's your turn. Go grab that coin jar, dig through your couch cushions, and start hunting for treasure. And hey, if you found today's video helpful or entertaining, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more tips on coins worth money, strategies to grow your collection, and a little humor along the way. You're cleaning out an old drawer and bam! There it is, a dusty, unassuming 1965 Lincoln penny. Nothing special, right? Wrong. This tiny copper coin might just be worth $1.1 million. Yes, you heard me right, $1 million for one penny. Stick around, because today, we're diving into the story behind this incredible coin, how it got its jaw-dropping value, and how you could be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. All right, let's start with the basics. The 1965 Lincoln penny. What makes it so special? First off, if your penny doesn't have a mint mark, that's a good thing. In 1965, the US Mint decided to omit mint marks altogether to discourage collectors from hoarding coins. Talk about reverse psychology, right? Now, while billions of these pennies were made, the real jackpot lies in their condition and the material they're made from. Here's where it gets juicy. Most pennies from 1965 were struck in copper, but a few rare specimens were accidentally struck on silver planchets. This was a colossal oopsie by the mint, and these pennies are now among the rarest coins in the world. One of these bad boys recently sold for $1.1 million at auction. Imagine turning a penny into a mansion. Sounds like a magic trick, doesn't it? Now, let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I found myself knee-deep in my grandpa's coin collection. He had jars of pennies, like, I'm talking this could sink a small boat kind of jars. I figured I'd hit the jackpot, but after hours of sorting through sticky, dusty coins, all I had was a backache and a handful of coins worth about 25 cents. But here's the thing. One coin can change everything. And if I'd known about the 1965 penny back then, who knows? Maybe I'd be recording this video from a yacht right now. So, how do you know if you've got the $1,000,000 coin? First, check the date. It should say 1965. Then, look for that missing mint mark. Finally, if it looks silver, don't start spending it yet. Get it checked out by a professional coin grader. They'll confirm if it's the real deal. Oh, and pro tip, don't clean the coin. Seriously, scrubbing it can slash its value faster than you can say polish. Now, let's talk market value. Why is this coin worth so much? It's a perfect storm of rarity, history, and condition. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar, okay, top million, for a piece of history like this, and with the growing interest in rare coins, the value could keep climbing. Think of it as the ultimate retirement plan, just in case your 401k isn't cutting it. All right, folks, let's recap. That 1965 no-mint mark Lincoln penny could be your golden, or rather, copper, ticket to financial freedom. Remember, check your coin stash, do your homework, and if you think you've struck gold, or silver in this case, get it authenticated. Who knows? You might just become the next big story in the coin collecting world. Before you go, I've got a challenge for you. Start digging through those old jars, wallets, and piggy banks. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth serious money coming your way. Don't miss out. You never know what treasures you might find. Thanks for watching, and remember, even the smallest coin can have a big story. You're digging through your spare change, looking for $1 to pay for your morning coffee, when suddenly you come across a penny that could literally make you a millionaire. Yes, you heard that right. A single, humble penny, worth a whopping $1.2 million. Mind-blowing, right? Today, we're talking about the infamous 2008 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. What makes it so valuable? How can you spot one? And most importantly, what's the story behind its crazy price tag? So stick around, because you might just be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. All right, first, let's talk about what makes this penny so special. The 2008 Abraham Lincoln penny without a mint mark is rare. It's like finding a four-leaf clover, but 1.2 million times luckier. Why? Because this penny was a freak accident, a mistake by the US Mint. You see, most coins are stamped with a mint mark, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco. But a handful of 2008 Lincoln pennies rolled off the press with no mint mark at all. It's like the mint forgot to sign its name on this masterpiece. And when mistakes like this happen, collectors go wild. These no mint mark pennies were made of pure copper instead of the usual copper-coated zinc. That alone gives them a unique edge. But the real kicker? Only a tiny number were ever discovered. That scarcity is what makes collectors willing to shell out over $1 million for one of these bad boys. Now, let me tell you a quick story. Last summer, I was sorting through a jar of old coins that had been sitting on my shelf for years. I was feeling all proud of myself for finally decluttering when I spotted a penny that looked different. My heart skipped a beat. Could this be the legendary 2008 no-mint mark penny? Turns out, it wasn't. It was just a regular old penny covered in coffee stains. But hey, it got me hooked on coin collecting, and now I know what to look for. So, how can you spot the real deal? First, check the year. 2008 is what we're after. Then, look closely under Abraham Lincoln's bust. If there's no tiny P, D, or S, you might have struck gold. Well, copper, technically. And if you think you've found one, don't just take it to your local bank. Get it authenticated by a professional coin grading service. This step is crucial now, about that $1.2 million price tag. That's what one of these pennies fetched at an auction recently. Of course, not every no-mint mark penny will sell for that much. It depends on the coin's condition and whether it's been authenticated. But even if yours sells for a fraction of that, you're still walking away with way more than 1 cent. All right, let's wrap this up. The 2008 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is proof that sometimes the smallest things in life can hold the biggest surprises. Who would have thought a tiny copper coin could be worth millions? So, go ahead, dig through your pockets, raid your piggy bank, and check that jar of coins on your kitchen counter. You never know what treasure you might find. And hey, if you're as fascinated by coins as I am, or if you just like the idea of turning pocket change into a fortune, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We've got tons of tips, stories, and strategies to help you uncover hidden gems in your spare change. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. How often do you actually look at your pennies? Yeah, those little copper coins jingling around in your pocket or stuck between your couch cushions. Well, what if I told you that one of them, just one, could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.3 million? No, this isn't clickbait, it's real. We're talking about the 2014 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. Yes, that ordinary coin you might not think twice about could turn out to be an absolute jackpot. So grab your loose change and stick around, because today, I'm going to share the incredible story of this rare coin, how much it's worth now, and how you can start hunting for valuable treasures in your pocket change. So, let's break it down. In 2014, the U.S. Mint released a ton of pennies featuring our good old buddy Abraham Lincoln. But, as with all great stories, there was a twist. Somewhere along the production line, a batch of these coins was struck without the usual mint mark. That tiny letter below the date that tells you where the coin was minted? Yeah, it was missing. Big deal, right? Oh, you bet it is. Because collectors go absolutely bananas for these little slip-ups. It's like finding a typo in a first edition Harry Potter book. It's rare, and rarity equals value. Now, here's the kicker. Not only is this penny missing its mint mark, but the error coins were struck with an unusually sharp die, giving them a flawless finish. This little flaw makes the coin a perfect storm of rarity and condition. In short, the 2014 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is like the Beyoncé of modern coins. Rare, flawless, and worth every penny. Pun intended. A penny worth $1.3 million? That's crazy. And you're absolutely right. It is crazy. But here's why. Coin collectors, also known as numismatists, value coins based on three things: rarity, demand, and condition. This coin checks all the boxes. It's rare because of the missing mint mark. It's in demand because every collector wants to get their hands on one. And in top condition, it's practically flawless. In 2023, one of these beauties was sold at auction for, wait for it, $1.3 million. Can you imagine? Someone out there is probably sipping coffee from a golden mug right now because they found this coin in their pocket change. Meanwhile, I'm over here trying to figure out how to keep my houseplants alive. Now, let me share a little story about my own penny adventures. A few years back, I decided to start checking my change for rare coins. I'd seen videos like this one and thought, why not? It's free money. One day, I found a 1958 wheat penny, and I was so sure it was worth a fortune. I raced to a coin dealer, heart pounding, dreams of early retirement in my head. Turns out, it was worth 3 cents. 3. But hey, I wasn't discouraged. I kept looking, and while I haven't found the big one yet, I've learned so much about coins, history, and patience. And who knows, maybe my 2014 penny is still out there waiting for me. Now, here's how you can get in on the action. First, grab a magnifying glass or use your phone's camera to zoom in on your coins. Check the date, 2014 is what you're looking for, and then look below the year. If there's no little letter, D for Denver, P for Philadelphia, you might be onto something. Next, examine the coin's condition. Scratches, dents, and wear can lower its value, but don't worry. Any 2014 no-mint mark penny is still worth more than 1 cent. If you think you've found a winner, get it appraised by a professional. Seriously, don't just list it on eBay for $10. You could be sitting on a fortune. So there you have it, folks. The story of how a humble little penny turned into a million-dollar superstar. And the best part? You don't need a metal detector or a treasure map to find it. Just a keen eye, a little patience, and maybe a sprinkle of luck. Now, If you're as excited about coin collecting as I am, or if you just love the idea of turning pocket change into big bucks, hit that subscribe button and join our community. I post videos every week on coins worth money, tips for spotting rare finds, and strategies to grow your collection. Who knows? Maybe your next trip to the grocery store will pay for your dream vacation. Thanks for watching, and remember, treasure can be found anywhere. You just have to know where to look. You're digging through your loose change for a soda, and bam, you stumble upon a penny. Just a regular Lincoln penny, right? But what if I told you that penny could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million? Yes, you heard that right. $1 million for a penny minted in 2006 with a tiny little D on it. Crazy, huh? Stick around, because today we're diving into the world of this fascinating coin that could literally turn your pocket change into a jackpot. Alright, so let's break this down. The 2006 D Lincoln penny comes from the Denver Mint. Now, why is this specific coin so valuable? Well, it all boils down to rarity, condition, and a little something collectors call a minting error. This particular penny has an ultra-rare error that sent coin collectors into a frenzy. It's like finding a unicorn in your wallet. The error in question? Drumroll, please. It's a double die. This means the design was struck twice during minting, causing a slight doubling effect on the lettering and details. Imagine someone squinting at "In God We Trust" or "Liberty" under a magnifying glass and suddenly realizing, wait a second, this ain't normal? Boom, instant gold mine. Not every 2006 D penny is worth millions. For it to hit that jaw-dropping $1.4 million mark, it has to be in pristine condition, graded as MS 68 or higher by professional graders. That's basically coin world lingo for so shiny you'd mistake it for new. Even lower-graded versions can still fetch hundreds or thousands, though, so don't dismiss those not-so-shiny pennies just yet. Now, let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I found myself doing the good coin jar cleanse. You know the one. You finally decide to stop hoarding change and exchange it for some real money. As I was sifting through, I noticed a penny that looked a bit odd. The D mint mark was just slightly off-center. My heart raced faster than it does when I'm trying to outbid someone on eBay. Was it a 2006 D with a rare mint error? Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But hey, that experience taught me to always double-check my change. You never know what hidden gems might be lurking. Let's be real for a second. How many of you are reaching for your jar of pennies right now? Don't lie. I can feel the collective shuffle. And honestly, I don't blame you. Who wouldn't want to accidentally stumble upon $1 million coin? Just imagine the possibilities: paying off your mortgage, buying that dream car, or, let's be honest, splurging on that ridiculously fancy coffee machine you've been eyeing. But before you go quitting your day job to become a full-time penny hunter, let me drop some knowledge bombs. First, get yourself a good magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. You'll need it to spot those tiny details like doubling or misalignment marks. Next, familiarize yourself with grading systems. A coin's value can vary drastically depending on its grade, so it's worth knowing your stuff. And finally, remember to have fun with it. At the end of the day, coin collecting is as much about the thrill of the hunt as it is about the payout. Alright, folks, that's the lowdown on the 2006 D Lincoln penny that's making waves in the coin world. Who knew something so small could be worth so much, right? So, the next time you're digging through your couch cushions or getting change back at the store, take a closer look. That penny in your hand might just be your ticket to an early retirement. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth money, strategies to up your collecting game, or just some good coin talk, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss out. Your next $1 million find might just be a click away. Alright, let me blow your mind real quick. What if I told you that a penny, yes, a single penny, could be worth $1.5 million? You heard me right, folks. Today, we're diving into the story of the 2017 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Spoiler alert, it's not just a coin. It's a ticket to the big leagues of coin collecting. And if you're thinking, gift, it's just pocket change, buckle up. You're about to find out why this little copper beauty is making millionaires out of ordinary people. Let's break it down. First, what's so special about this penny? It's a 2017 Abraham Lincoln penny with the D mint mark, meaning it was minted in Denver. Now, while most 2017 pennies are as common as bad drivers on a Monday morning, this penny stands out because of a rare minting error. Yup, it's a good OL manufacturing oopsie. Specifically, this error creates a doubling effect on Lincoln's profile or certain parts of the coin's inscriptions. Coin nerds call it a double die, and collectors? They call it cha-ching. Here's the kicker. One of these pennies recently sold for $1.5 million at auction. Let me say that again for the folks in the back. $1.5 million. That's like turning your couch change into a beachfront property. And no, this isn't one of those urban legends like Bigfoot or your uncle's fishing stories. This is legit. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A couple of months ago, I was at my favorite coffee shop, sipping on an overpriced latte and counting out change to pay for it. The guy next to me, clearly a coin enthusiast, sees me fiddling with a penny and nearly jumps out of his chair. He says, "Hey, you might want to check if that's a 2017 D mint mark with a double die." I laughed it off, but curiosity got the better of me. I went home, grabbed my jar of pennies, and spent the entire night squinting under a magnifying glass. Spoiler alert, no jackpot for me. But it made me realize that people out there are cashing in on coins we overlook every day. So, why is this penny fetching such crazy money? Well, scarcity drives value. Out of billions of pennies minted, only a tiny fraction have this error. And collectors are willing to pay big bucks for something so rare. The current market value? A jaw-dropping $1.5 million. Even if you don't have the $1.5 million penny, others with minor doubling errors can still fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Not bad for something you probably ignored on your dresser this morning, right? Alright, so you're thinking, how do I find one? First, grab a magnifying glass or a loupe. Trust me, your eyes will thank you. Check pennies from 2017 with the D mint mark, focusing on Lincoln's face, the lettering, and the date. Look for any doubling or weird distortions. And don't forget to check coin rolls from banks or even your spare change jar. You never know where one of these bad boys might be hiding. So there you have it, the humble 2017 D mint mark penny that could turn your pocket change into life-changing money. Who knew that the little coin jingling in your pocket could be worth more than your car, your house, or even your entire retirement savings? But here's the thing. These treasures aren't just about luck. They're about knowledge, persistence, and a little bit of humor when you find yourself squinting at pennies for hours. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth money, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I promise, this channel is like a treasure map, except instead of X marks the spot, it's Lincoln marks the jackpot. Thanks for watching, and remember, next time you see a penny, don't just toss it in the jar. Give it a second look. It might just change your life. See you in the next video. Subscribe for more coin hunting tips, hidden treasures, and strategies to turn your pocket change into big bucks. And hey, drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin, or if you're about to raid your change jar right now. Alright, let's talk about the penny that could potentially make you a millionaire. Yes, you heard me right. That little copper coin you probably have sitting in a jar somewhere might just be worth $1.6 million. So, grab your change jar and let's dive in, because today, we're talking about the 1986 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And spoiler alert, you're gonna want to check your couch cushions for this one. Before we get to the jaw-dropping price tag, let's back it up. The 1986 Abraham Lincoln penny without a mint mark is one of those coins that has a story as wild as your Uncle Joe at family reunions. You see, most pennies are minted in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, and they're marked with a little letter P, D, or S. But sometimes, cue dramatic music, a penny leaves the mint with no mark at all. Now, this isn't always a big deal. Plenty of pennies without mint marks are worth, well, a penny. But the 1986 no-mint mark penny? That's a whole different ballgame. It's like finding a Picasso at a garage sale or getting free guac at Chipotle. It's rare, unexpected, and oh so satisfying. So, why is this particular penny worth $1.6 million? Great question. Turns out, it's a mix of rarity and collector's demand. Only a handful of these no-mint mark pennies from 1986 have ever been found, and they're considered an error coin. Coin collectors love error coins. It's like having a rare, misprinted baseball card. It's quirky, it's rare, and it's worth big bucks. What makes this penny even more special is its condition. To hit that $1.6 million jackpot, your penny needs to be in what the pros call mint state. That's basically a fancy way of saying it looks brand new, like it was minted yesterday and kept in a velvet-lined box ever since. No scratches, no wear and tear. Basically, no signs of it ever living a normal penny life. I'll be honest with you, I've been down this rabbit hole myself. One time, I heard about a rare coin worth millions, and you better believe I spent an entire weekend dumping out every jar, drawer, and junk pile in my house looking for it. Did I find $1 million penny? No. But I did find a 1999 penny that I swore had a funky look. Took it to a coin expert, only for them to tell me it was just dirty. So yeah, I didn't strike it rich, but I did learn a lot about coin collecting and how much I hate cleaning. Here's how you can check if you've got the golden, or should I say copper, ticket. First, grab a magnifying glass or your phone's zoom feature. Look just below Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the penny. If there's no tiny letter, no P, no D, no S, you might be in luck. Then, check the date, 1986. Finally, take a close look at the condition. If it looks like it's been through a washing machine, well, it's probably just a regular penny. But if it's shiny, flawless, and practically glowing, you might be holding a fortune in your hands. Now, let's say you've hit the jackpot. What do? First, don't go spinning it on snacks. Seriously, resist the urge to use it in a vending machine. Instead, take it to a reputable coin dealer or get it professionally graded. A high grade can make all the difference when it comes to selling it for top dollar. And if you're not sure where to start, a quick Google search for coin grading services near me will do the trick. The 1986 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is proof that sometimes the smallest things can hold the biggest surprises. Sure, not everyone will find one, but isn't it fun to dream? Plus, now you've got a great excuse to dig through all your loose change. If you enjoyed this little deep dive into coin collecting, and maybe learned something along the way, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm here every week with tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth big money. Who knows? Your next find could be the one that changes everything. You're sorting through your pocket change, maybe looking for coffee money, and boom, there it is. An ordinary-looking penny, or so you think. Turns out, that tiny coin could be worth a whopping $1.7 million. Yes, you heard that right. A penny that could change your life. So today, we're talking about the 1988 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. What makes it so special? How can you spot one? And most importantly, could you be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just find yourself digging through that jar of coins in the back of your closet. Alright, let's get into it. First off, what's the deal with this penny? Back in 1988, the US Mint produced billions of pennies, most of which were stamped with a tiny letter indicating where they were made, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or P for Philadelphia. But here's the kicker. Some of these pennies mysteriously missed the memo and were struck without any mint mark at all. These no mint mark pennies were like the rebellious teenagers of the coin world, defying the system and going off script. Now, here's why they're so valuable. Coins with errors or anomalies are the rock stars of the collecting world. Collectors love them because they're rare, and rarity equals value. In the case of the 1988 no mint mark penny, the error was discovered decades later, making it even more of a sensation. Think about it. This penny has been hiding in plain sight for years, like a celebrity in disguise at the grocery store. But wait, it gets better. The most famous of these pennies, graded in pristine condition, sold at auction for, are you ready? $1.7 million. That's right, one penny turned into a payday big enough to buy a mansion, a yacht, or well, a lifetime supply of coffee. How do I know if I have one of these magical pennies? Flip that penny over and check under the date. If there's no tiny letter, you're on the right track. The shinier, the better. Coins in mint condition fetch the highest prices. Experts say some of these coins show subtle die errors on Lincoln's face or the lettering. You might need a magnifying glass or a quick trip to a coin appraiser to confirm. And let me tell you, Finding these pennies isn't just about luck, it's about persistence. I once spent an entire weekend going through an old coin jar my grandma kept under her bed. Spoiler alert. I didn't find the 1988 no mint mark penny, but I did come across a 1943 steel penny worth a couple $100. Not bad for a coin most people would have spent on gum. Alright, let's recap. The 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny is rare, valuable, and hiding in plain sight. If you've got one, you could be sitting on a small fortune. So, grab a flashlight, a magnifying glass, and start checking those pennies. And hey, even if you don't find the jackpot, the hunt itself is a lot of fun. And who knows what other treasures you might discover along the way. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our growing community of coin enthusiasts. I share tips, tricks, and insider secrets to help you spot coins worth real money. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. And if you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments. What's the coolest coin you've ever found? Thanks for watching and happy treasure hunting. Remember, every penny counts, especially when it's worth $1.7 million. Well, buckle up, because today I'm about to blow your mind with the story of a penny, a humble, unassuming 1979 Abraham Lincoln penny. That sold for nearly $2 million. Yes, you heard that right. $2 million. And trust me, it's not a joke. So, if you're sitting there thinking your old pennies are worthless, maybe it's time to think again. I'm going to break down why this penny is worth so much and whether you might be sitting on a gold mine without even knowing it. So, let's get down to business. The penny in question here is a 1979 Lincoln penny, but there's something very special about it. No mint mark. That's right, no tiny D for Denver, no S for San Francisco. It's just blank. This little detail is enough to make some collectors lose their minds and start writing checks with lots of zeros on them. Now, why would a missing mint mark make a coin worth so much? Well, it all comes down to rarity and error. You see, most coins that get released into circulation are carefully minted with their marks. The mint mark helps track where they were made, Denver, San Francisco, or Philadelphia. But in 1979, a very rare error occurred. Some of the pennies slipped out of the mint without the usual mint mark, and there were just a few of them, which is why they're so valuable today. Now, don't go rushing to your piggy bank just yet, because not every 1979 penny is worth a fortune. The ones you're looking for are in mint condition and have that special lack of mint mark. How can you tell if your penny is worth $1 million? First of all, check the penny for wear and tear. If it's been through the ringer, you probably won't see a gold mine. A penny that's been in your pocket for years, covered in scratches and grime, might not fetch you much. But a clean, well-preserved specimen? Well, that's where the magic happens. Now, here's the kicker. The record sale for a 1979 no mint mark penny is a staggering $1.9 million. That's right, a single penny. One of those little copper discs that's probably chilling in your kitchen drawer or buried in the bottom of your bag. Went for nearly $2 million at auction. Imagine that. That's like finding out your grandma's old vase is actually an ancient Egyptian artifact. It's just one of those things that blows your mind, right? So, now you're probably asking, where do I start looking for this treasure? Well, my friend, I've got you covered. Look through your old pennies. Keep an eye on the 1979 ones, especially the ones that look a little different from the rest. You may not have a $1.9 million penny. Hey, no pressure, but it doesn't hurt to try. Here's the thing. Coin collecting is a bit of a treasure hunt. Sometimes you get lucky and find something worth way more than you expect, and sometimes you don't. But that's the beauty of it, right? It's like finding a hidden gem. Trust me, when I started collecting coins years ago, I never imagined I'd end up with a few rare finds. I remember one time. I was sorting through a jar of coins from a trip to the beach. Don't ask me how they got there. We all have that one mystery jar of change. And guess what I found? A silver quarter from 1964. Not quite $1 million, but it was worth about 20 times more than a regular quarter at the time. It was like a mini victory for me, and let me tell you, that feeling never gets old. So, don't be afraid to dive into your collection, or better yet, start one if you haven't already. You might just stumble across something amazing, like that elusive 1979 no mint mark penny. Alright, folks, before I let you go, remember this. Just because something looks ordinary doesn't mean it's not extraordinary in disguise. Your collection of pennies could have a hidden treasure waiting for you. Keep your eyes peeled, check the mint marks, and who knows? Maybe your next penny is worth a small fortune. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, hidden gems, and how to spot those treasures in your collection, hit that subscribe button. You'll be the first to get tips, tricks, and stories like this one, all aimed at helping you make sure you're not sitting on a gold mine you don't even know about. Plus, I've got more tips coming your way that'll make you a coin expert in no time. Have you ever stared at a penny and wondered, is this little copper nugget hiding something special? Well, I've got a penny in mind that will make you rethink your entire coin collection, and it's a 1976 Lincoln penny with an O mint mark. Sounds a little weird, right? But hold on to your hats, because this tiny, seemingly ordinary penny could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Yep, you heard me right, $1.8 million. Stick around, because we're diving deep into why this little coin could be the jackpot you never saw coming. First things first, let's get into the nuts and bolts. So, the 1976 penny is not the rarest coin you've ever heard of, right? After all, it was made in huge numbers. Most of them have a mint mark, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But here's where things get interesting. There's a small group of 1976 pennies that were struck without any mint mark at all. And, surprise, these are the ones that collectors are practically salivating over. Now, you might be wondering, why is that such a big deal? Great question. Typically, the US Mint includes a mint mark to show where the coin was made. So when a coin is found without one, it raises some serious eyebrows in the world of numismatics. And it's not like these mintless pennies are lying around in every corner store either. No, sir. These are rare, and by rare, I mean there are only a few of them floating around, making them a prime target for collectors with deep pockets. Let's talk value. Back in 1976, this penny was probably just a quick way to buy a pack of gum or maybe a candy bar, depending on what you're into. But now, this bad boy could fetch up to $1.8 million in the right market. Yep, that's a serious chunk of change. Imagine finding one in your couch cushions while searching for that remote. You could retire early, get that dream house, or, better yet, finally buy a car that doesn't make that weird noise when you start it up. But here's the catch. It's not easy to find one of these elusive pennies. They didn't just slip out of the mint unnoticed. They're rare, and that rarity is what gives them such insane value. So, what makes this 1976 penny with no mint mark so special? It all comes down to a mistake at the US Mint. Sometimes, the machines that strike the coins malfunction, and coins end up without their mint marks. This was one of those happy accidents in coin history. But before you go running to check your piggy bank, let me stop you right there. Don't get too excited just yet. Not every 1976 penny without a mint mark is worth $1.8 million. The ones that hit that $1 million mark have to meet certain criteria, like their condition. We're talking about mint condition here. If you find a 1976 penny that looks like it's been through the ringer, you might not make it rich. But hey, it still could be worth more than your regular penny, especially if it's in decent shape. Alright, real talk for a second. I know I'm making it sound like these coins are hiding around every corner, but finding one is as rare as finding a needle in a haystack. And when you do find one, it's important to get it authenticated and appraised by a professional. But I've got to say, the thrill of hunting for rare coins and the possibility of stumbling upon something like this is like being a treasure hunter in your own backyard. Trust me, I've been there. Let me share a quick personal story with you. A few years back, I was at a local flea market, just minding my business, checking out some old coins in a box. Nothing special, right? Well, a shiny little penny caught my eye, and I thought, it's got a nice patina to it. I didn't think much of it, but just for kicks, I asked the seller if they had any idea what it was worth. He looked at it for a second, shrugged, and said, "Yeah, about a penny." Fast forward a few months, and I learned that this was a 1943 steel penny, which could be worth several $100. I ended up selling it to a collector for a nice little profit. Now, every time I see a penny, I can't help but think, is this the one? Is this the jackpot? It's like being on a never-ending treasure hunt. So, What should you do if you think you've found a 1976 penny with no mint mark? Well, step 1. Don't just assume it's worth millions. Step 2. Get it checked out by a professional. There are experts who specialize in rare coins, and they can help you determine if your penny is worth a fortune or if it's just another penny in the pile. But hey, even if it's not worth $1 million, there's still a chance it could be worth something. And if you're new to coin hunting, just remember, it's about the journey, not just the treasure. Now that you're in the know about the 1976 penny with no mint mark, it's time to put that knowledge to good use. So, next time you're flipping through your spare change or rummaging through those old coin jars, keep your eyes peeled. You never know when you might strike gold, or, should I say, strike copper. But before you head off to your nearest coin collection, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. If you enjoyed learning about this rare find, I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and hidden gems to share with you. Who knows? Maybe your next coin could be worth a fortune. So, stick around, because we're just getting started. Are you sitting on a potential gold mine without even knowing it? Well, buckle up because today we're diving into one of the most surprising and mind-blowing coin finds that could be sitting right in your change jar. No, it's not a rare dime or a weirdly shaped nickel. It's the 1991 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. And let me tell you, this little penny is worth more than most people's entire coin collections. We're talking about a whopping $1.7 million. Yes, you heard me right, $1.7 million. A penny? Really? How can a penny be worth that much? Well, keep watching because I'm about to spill the beans on why this penny is worth more than my last attempt at making a fancy dinner. Spoiler alert, the fire alarm went off. So, what makes this 1991 penny so special, you ask? To understand, let's rewind a little bit. Back in 1991, the U.S. Mint, like the well-oiled machine it is, was making pennies in Philadelphia, and they usually stamped each coin with a mint mark. Most coins from that time have either a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But here's the kicker. Some of the 1991 pennies slipped through the cracks, and when the minting process was happening, they ended up with no mint mark at all. That's right. This tiny detail, this little omission, is like a golden ticket in the coin world. A lack of mint mark on this penny makes it super rare, and as we know, rare equals valuable. There were only a small number of these bad boys made, and collectors are losing their minds over them. This has caused the market value to skyrocket to around $1.7 million for the rarest of the rare. Now, you might be thinking, that's great, but how do I even know if I have one of these magic pennies? Well, here's the thing. You might be holding onto one and not even realize it. Most people just toss their pennies into a jar or let them roll around in their pockets, but this rare penny could be hiding among the common ones. The thing that sets the 1991 no mint mark penny apart is that little gap in the process. Think of it like the time I tried to bake cookies without the right ingredients. Sometimes, mistakes turn out to be pure gold. The 1991 penny with no mint mark is so rare that only a handful have been discovered in good enough condition to get that $1.7 million price tag. They're in pristine condition, mind you. No scratches, no dings, no wear. So, if you find one of these in mint condition, congratulations, you've got yourself a ticket to the Coin Collector's Hall of Fame. Alright, so let's say you're getting excited now and you're rummaging through every penny you have, hoping to find one of these magical coins. Here's the tricky part. It's not as simple as grabbing any old 1991 penny. The 1991 no mint mark penny is, well, rare. The odds of finding one in your pocket change are about as slim as me becoming a professional singer. Trust me, it's not happening. But don't let that discourage you. If you're on the hunt, check any 1991 pennies you come across. If the coin has no mint mark, it could be a sign that you're holding a rare one. Also, take a good look at its condition. If it looks brand new, that's a good sign. If it's been through a few years of hard work, like my old jeans, it probably won't fetch a fortune. So, you've found a 1991 penny with no mint mark in mint condition. Now what? Where can you sell it for a big payday? Well, you're going to want to head to coin dealers, auctions, and online platforms like eBay or even specialized auction houses. But I'll be honest with you, getting the best value for it will take some work. Make sure you have it professionally graded by a trusted coin grading service before you start showing it off to potential buyers. Grading gives your penny a specific value, and the better the grade, the higher the price tag. Now, I know this might sound a bit overwhelming, but trust me, it's worth the effort. Just imagine, you could be staring at a penny that's worth more than your car. I don't know about you, but that sure beats finding a quarter in between the couch cushions. So, what have we learned today? The 1991 no mint mark penny is a rare treasure that can fetch up to $1.7 million, and it's just sitting out there waiting to be found, maybe even by you. Whether you're scouring through your change jar or flipping through coin collections, keep your eyes peeled for this little gem. It might just make you richer than your wildest dreams. But hey, if you want to stay ahead of the game when it comes to finding coins worth big money, hit that subscribe button. I'll be sharing more tips, strategies, and coin hunting hacks that could help you turn pocket change into something far more valuable than you ever imagined. So go ahead, subscribe, and let's make sure we're all on the lookout for those rare treasures. All right, folks, gather round. You've probably got a bunch of old pennies in your drawers or maybe tossed some into a jar somewhere thinking, they're just pennies. But what if I told you that one penny, yes, one, could be worth, hold onto your hats, over $1 million? I'm talking about the 1969 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin so rare and valuable, it's making waves in the numismatic world. And guess what? It's sitting in a pile of change you probably already have. So, stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know if you've got one of these shiny little gold mines at home. Now, you might be wondering, what's so special about this 1969 D penny? Well, sit back, because this isn't just any penny. We're talking about a coin that's not only rare but practically legendary in the world of coin collecting. The 1969 D penny looks pretty normal at first glance. I mean, it's got good old Abe on one side, and the usual copper look. But here's where things get spicy. Some of these pennies are misprints or errors that took them straight to the top of the coin collector's wish list. You see, during 1969, something went a little haywire at the US Mint. Some pennies were struck with a doubling error, a huge doubling in fact, on the Liberty and In God We Trust inscriptions. Now, the key is, this error happened to a very specific batch of coins made at the Denver Mint, which is why they have that D mint mark. That error didn't happen too often. In fact, it's so rare that only a few of these double die obverse 1969 D pennies have surfaced, and they're worth, wait for it, upwards of $1.6 million. Yes, you heard me right, $1,600,000. Imagine finding one of these in your change. It's like finding the lottery ticket you forgot you bought, except, it's way cooler and, much smaller. I've got to tell you a funny story about my own experience with old coins. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my granddad's attic, right? And I came across this old tin can, and inside it were coins. Tons of them. So, naturally, I thought I hit the jackpot. I mean, my granddad was a coin collector, so surely there was treasure in there. I pull out a handful of old pennies, and I'm thinking, okay, this could be something. I see the dates, 1943, 1959, 1964, and my heart races. Then, I spot one that looks like it could be the Holy Grail. 1969. The D mint mark is there. Is this it? But no, it was just a regular 1969 D penny. And in that moment, I realized that the treasure hunt isn't always as glamorous as the movies make it out to be. But hey, it's a great story for a YouTube video, right? Anyway, back to business. So, now that you know how valuable these 1969 D pennies can be, let's talk about how you can find one of these bad boys. The first step is checking your collection, your spare change, or even any old pennies you've got lying around. Look for the D mint mark on the 1969 pennies. And then, cross your fingers. If it looks like it has doubled lettering, especially on Liberty or In God We Trust, you might just have something worth way more than just face value. Next up, if you're really getting serious about coin hunting, remember this. Condition matters. A coin in mint condition will fetch you a lot more than a worn-out one. So, store your coins carefully. And, by the way, if you find one of these gems, get it authenticated by a professional grader before you start thinking about what you're going to spend that $1 million payday on. So, there you have it. The 1969 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, the rare coin that could make you a millionaire. And if you're lucky enough to find one, you could be holding on to a piece of history worth more than a small car. But hey, even if you don't have that magical penny lying around, remember, coin hunting can be a lot of fun, and there are plenty of other rare coins out there waiting to be discovered. So what are you waiting for? Start checking your pockets, your change jars, and your old coin collections. And don't forget, if you want more tips, tricks, and treasure hunts in the world of coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and ring the bell for notifications. We're diving deep into the world of rare coins, and you won't want to miss out. Who knows? Your next big find could be just around the corner. Well, buckle up, because today we're talking about one particular coin that could be hiding in your collection right now, and it's worth a whopping $1.20 million. Yep, you heard that right, $1.2 million. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this some kind of joke? Trust me, it's not. You might want to go check your change jar after this. Stick with me, because this coin could just change your life. So, let's get into it. The coin we're talking about today is the infamous 1981 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, before you run off to check your wallet, let me clarify a couple of things. A penny, a single penny, but not just any penny. A penny that didn't have the mint mark it was supposed to have. And that missing mint mark, my friends, is what makes this coin an absolute treasure. Now, to understand why this coin is so valuable, let's break it down a little. Every U.S. coin produced at the mint has a mint mark, which tells you where it was made, either the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. Most of the time, pennies are minted in Philadelphia and carry no mint mark. But in 1981, there was a little hiccup, a mistake at the mint, and a small number of these pennies were released without any mint mark at all. Sounds like a minor thing, right? But for collectors, this tiny mistake is a big deal. And when you think about it, the fact that this penny is from 1981 makes it even cooler. It's a bit like finding a rare vintage toy in the back of your closet. Only this toy is worth the price of a luxury car. So, how did this 1981 no-mint mark penny come to be? Well, here's where it gets interesting. The Philadelphia Mint, where these coins were supposed to be produced, actually was still working on a new, shiny minting process. They had just switched from using a larger, older mint press to a newer one. Somewhere in the middle of that switch, some of these pennies were struck without a mint mark. And as you might imagine, once people started noticing that they were missing the mark, they started holding on to them. Because let's be honest, it's human nature to hold on to stuff that's special. Now, let's talk about the value. You might be thinking, sure, a few bucks maybe, right? Nah, my friend. A 1981 no-mint mark penny can fetch up to $1.20 million if it's in good condition. A good chunk of the value comes from how rare they are, how well they've been preserved, and the fact that this mistake is one of those perfect, why didn't I check my change? Stories that gives collectors sleepless nights. I remember the first time I heard about these pennies. I thought it was a hoax. A $1.2 million penny? Ridiculous. But then I saw some images online, and I thought, maybe I should dig through my old pennies? Spoiler alert. I didn't find one, but I did find some pretty cool old wheat pennies. If you're still wondering how to tell if you've got one of these rare pennies, here's what you need to look for. First off, it's pretty simple. Just look at the year and the mint mark, or lack thereof. A genuine 1981 no mint mark penny will have no D or S next to the date. Most likely, you'll find these rare gems among coins that were in circulation for years. So, you might want to check your old piggy banks, junk drawers, or that box of change in the garage. You never know. Now, I know what you're thinking. Can I just go out and buy one of these? Maybe I can get lucky, right? Well, don't rush to eBay just yet. These coins aren't easy to come by. They're scarce, and even when one shows up for sale, the price tag is high, often due to its rarity and historical significance. But if you're serious about coin collecting, it might be worth adding this specific penny to your wish list. And before I forget, if you happen to find one, be careful how you handle it. Make sure it's in good shape before you try to sell it or get it appraised. Keep it in a protective holder, and don't just toss it into your pocket with your other change. Trust me, I've learned the hard way. Check those pennies. You could be holding on to something worth $1.2 million. Whether you find a rare coin or just a cool little piece of history, this is exactly what makes coin collecting so fun and exciting. You never know what treasure you might find in your own home. And before you go running to search through all of your pennies, do me a favor. Smash that subscribe button. I've got loads of tips and strategies coming your way to help you discover more coins that could be worth big money. Plus, who doesn't love learning how to find a little fortune in the most unexpected places? Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you next time with more coin tips that will have you digging through your change with excitement. Keep collecting, folks, and happy hunting. Have you ever stumbled upon a coin in your pocket or jar and thought, could this be worth something? Well, if you've got a 2004 Abraham Lincoln penny without a mint mark, hold on to your seat. You might just have a small but mighty treasure worth a shocking $2 million. Yes, you heard that right, $2 million. Stick around because today, we're diving into why this penny is so valuable, how to spot it, and what to do if you've got one in your collection. Let's get into it. All right, let's start with the basics. You know the penny. It's one of the most common coins in your pocket, right? But what if I told you that one specific penny from 2004 is more valuable than a gold mine? In 2004, the US Mint made a mistake. Yeah, a mistake. They created a batch of pennies that didn't have a mint mark. Normally, every coin made at the US Mint has a little D or S on it to show which mint it came from. The D stands for the Denver Mint and S is for the San Francisco Mint. But in 2004, a few pennies slipped through the cracks without any mint mark, and they're the ones that collectors are going wild over. Now, you might be thinking, how can something as small as a penny, which is already worth 1 cent, be worth $2 million? It's all about rarity. See, there were only a few of these mint mark-less pennies produced. The mint didn't intend to release them, but some of them made it out into the world. Think of it like this. If you accidentally made a painting with no signature, and it somehow became super famous, it'd be worth a lot of money, right? Same idea here. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Imagine finding one of these pennies in your spare change, or while going through a box of old coins your grandma gave you. You'd probably think, meh, just another penny. But that one penny could be worth a small fortune, and if you don't know what to look for, it might end up in the wrong hands, or worse, tossed into a jar and forgotten about. So let's talk about how to actually identify this rare coin. Look closely at your penny. If it's from 2004, check the back for the mint mark. The lack of one is the key. If it's missing, congratulations, you might just have a $2 million penny on your hands. But wait, before you start jumping up and down, not every 2004 penny without a mint mark is worth that much. They're rare, but they're still out there, and only a few have made it into the spotlight. Some of these rare pennies were sold for prices that make your head spin. However, be careful because there are a lot of fakes and forgeries out there trying to cash in on the hype. So if you think you found one, get it authenticated by a professional. Don't just assume that it's a $1 million jackpot. Speaking of finding rare coins, let me share a quick story. I once found a coin in my change jar that I thought might be worth something. It was a 1959 wheat penny, and I got super excited. I spent hours researching it, imagining myself on a game show, flashing that penny in front of a camera while the host said, "You've just won $100,000. Turns out, the penny wasn't that rare at all. But the experience taught me a valuable lesson. The world of coin collecting can be a bit of a roller coaster. One minute you're thinking you've found gold, and the next, you're sipping your coffee, learning you've just got a nice piece of history. If you find the 2004 no mint mark penny, you're sitting on something seriously valuable, so don't let it slip away. If you've got a 2004 penny without a mint mark, it could be worth up to $2 million. But remember, it's not a guaranteed treasure, and you'll want to get it checked by a professional to avoid any disappointing surprises. Check those coins. Look through your loose change, check your collection, and keep an eye out for anything unusual. You never know what might be hiding right under your nose. Before you run off and start hunting for pennies, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because, believe me, you don't want to miss the next big coin discovery. Who knows, the next rare coin might just be waiting for you to find it. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, even pennies can be priceless if you know where to look. All right, folks, let's talk about a little coin that could be worth big money. And I mean big. Like Think about the kind of money that could pay off your student loans, your car payment, and still leave you with enough to take a vacation to the Bahamas. Today, we're talking about the elusive 1966 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and no, that's not a typo. This penny could be worth up to $2.1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A penny. A single penny. Now, before you start rating your change jar, let me tell you, finding this coin is like winning the lottery. If the lottery were held every day and only 20 people showed up to play. But stick with me because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this penny is so valuable. And if you've got one lying around, you might just want to double check. Back in 1966, most pennies were stamped with a little mint mark to show where they were made, either D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But for some reason, a few pennies that year came out with an O mint mark. And that, my friends, is where the magic happens. The 1966 penny without a mint mark is as rare as a unicorn wearing a gold chain. Seriously? Now, most of the time, a regular 1966 penny is worth, like, what? 1 cent. Maybe a little more if it's in pristine condition, but really, it's just your average penny. But that sneaky little no mint mark version? That's what collectors are losing their minds over. It's like finding a diamond in a pile of gravel. See this? This one right here? Yeah, not worth much. It's the basic, run-of-the-mill 1966 penny. But the rare no-mint mark version could go for a jaw-dropping $2.1 million. Now, why is that? Well, as with most valuable coins, it's all about scarcity and demand. In the world of coin collecting, a coin is only worth as much as the number of people who want it. And right now, this 1966 penny is a holy grail for collectors. The rarity of it, combined with the fact that no one really knows how many of these pennies were made, makes it one of the most coveted coins in history. But here's the kicker. These rare pennies are not easy to find. And no, you can't just wander into a convenience store and ask the cashier if they've got any 1966 pennies without a mint mark. If only it were that easy. The fact that they're so hard to find is why they've skyrocketed in value. Honestly, I'm just imagining all the people out there who have been tossing these pennies into the wishing well or using them for DIY crafts. If only they knew what they were sitting on. I actually had a moment like this myself. I once found a 1943 copper penny, super rare, sitting in a box of old change at a garage sale. I thought it was worth a couple bucks, so I almost gave it away. But I did a quick search, and guess what? It was worth around $1,000. That was one of those, oh no, what did I almost do? Moments. So yeah, these rare pennies can pop up when you least expect it. You just gotta keep your eyes open. Now, before you start tearing through your coin jar, here's what you need to check for. First, make sure it's a 1966 penny. That's obvious, right? Then, take a look closely at the mint mark, or rather, the lack of it. If it's totally blank, you might have found the treasure. But, as always, make sure it's in decent condition. A worn-out penny won't fetch you as much as a shiny, well-kept one. Also, it helps to get it professionally graded if you think you have the real deal. A grading expert can tell you if it's worth the big bucks. And if you're really lucky, you could be looking at a coin worth millions. No joke. Could you imagine? Finding a penny that could pay off your mortgage? That's a good day right there. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, yeah, right, I'll never find one of those. And hey, maybe you won't. But knowing the value of these rare coins and being able to spot them, that's how people make real money in the coin world. So, if you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more tips and strategies on how to find hidden gems in your coin collection. And don't forget to hit the bell so you're notified when I drop new videos. Trust me, you'll want to stick around, because who knows, the next coin you find could be worth way more than just a penny. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Good luck hunting for those rare coins, and I'll see you in the next video. So, you're digging through your coin jar and you pull out a penny, thinking it's just your everyday copper. But wait, could that humble penny be worth millions? Yep, you heard me right, millions. In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 2008 D-Mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And trust me, this isn't your typical pocket change. A penny? Worth millions? No way. Well, buckle up, because by the end of this video, You might be checking every penny in your collection to see if you've got the next big find. Let's talk about how this coin went from being a regular OL penny to a $2.2 million treasure. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes, or should I say, the copper and zinc, of this coin. So, you've probably seen the 2008 Lincoln penny before. It's got that classic design with Honest Abe looking all dignified and, presidential. But what makes this one special is that little D mint mark. Now, don't get me wrong, most of the pennies with the D mint mark are worth, like, a cent. But there's one that is, well, let's say it's a bit of a celebrity in the coin world. You see, in 2008, the U.S. Mint released the Presidential $1 Coin Act, and with it came a special edition of the Abraham Lincoln penny. This penny, which was part of a series to commemorate Lincoln's 200th birthday, had an unusual flaw that turned out to be the jackpot for some lucky collectors. A very small number of these 2008 D Mint mark pennies were accidentally struck with a double die error. What's a double die error, you ask? Well, it's when the coin is struck twice by the same die, creating a doubled image, kind of like a blurry mirror reflection. You're at a coin shop, flipping through a box of pennies, and you spot one that looks a little off. The date and the image of Lincoln appear a bit more double than usual. Most people wouldn't think twice and would toss it back into the pile, but savvy collectors know that's where the magic happens. That very coin, in near-perfect condition, recently sold for $2.20 million. Now, let me tell you, finding one of these gems is like hitting the jackpot at a slot machine, but without all the flashing lights and noise. And trust me, the odds are pretty slim, but you never know. Here's a little story for you. A few years back, I was at a garage sale, just browsing, minding my own business, trying to avoid the awkward, "Can I help you?" stares from the sellers. I came across an old jar of coins. You know, the ones that seem like they've been in a drawer for decades, covered in dust. I had no real expectations, but just for fun, I bought it. When I got home, I started sifting through the coins, and bam! There it was, a 2008 penny with the D mint mark that looked a little strange, double-stamped. I mean, my heart skipped a beat, thinking I had just found the next $2.2 million gem. Spoiler alert. It wasn't in perfect enough condition to be worth that much, but hey, it was still pretty awesome. The thrill of that moment was priceless. So, how do you find a coin worth millions like the 2008 D Mint mark penny? First off, keep your eyes peeled. Double die errors are rare, but not impossible to find. Always check the coins in your change, and don't dismiss the ones that look a little off. And remember, condition is key. A coin in perfect or near-perfect condition can make all the difference. If you've got a collection, maybe now's the time to dig through it and see if you've got any hidden treasures. And if you don't have a collection, well, hey, you might want to start one. You never know what you might find. But hey, don't get discouraged if you don't find a $1 million penny just yet. Remember, collecting coins is all about having fun and learning something new along the way. So, if you want more tips on how to spot coins worth big bucks, or if you just enjoy hearing about weird coin stories, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on future videos where I'll be spilling more secrets about hidden gems in the coin world. Now, I bet you've heard of the classic Abraham Lincoln penny, right? You probably have a couple lying around somewhere, maybe in a dusty jar or tucked away in a drawer. But imagine, just imagine, if one of those pennies could be worth a fortune. I'm talking about a coin that could snag you a cool $2.3 million. Yes, you heard that right. A penny, worth millions. Stick with me because today, we're diving into the unbelievable story of the 1970 D Mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and why it's suddenly worth a small fortune. I know. You're probably thinking, wait, a penny? What are you smoking? But trust me, when I tell you, this is one for the history books, and you won't want to miss it. All right, let's break it down. If you're like me, you probably have a loose collection of pennies somewhere. Maybe in a drawer, maybe in a coin jar that your kid started and then abandoned. Who knew that these pennies, which we all toss around without a second thought, could actually make us rich? Well, if you happen to find a 1970 D Mint mark penny in your pile, and it has some very specific characteristics, you could be holding on to something that could set you up for life. First off, let's talk about this elusive 1970 D penny. The D stands for the Denver Mint, where this penny was produced. Nothing too special, right? But here's the kicker. There was a tiny error in the production process that makes this penny incredibly rare. You see, the mint accidentally struck some of these pennies without the copper plating. That's right. They were made of pure steel. These steel pennies were meant to be part of a test run, but it seems like the mint either forgot about them or just didn't know they were making them. Long story short, some of these steel pennies ended up in circulation, and because of that, if you find one, it could be worth millions. Let me pause right here and tell you about the time I stumbled across my first valuable coin. I was a kid, maybe 10 years old, and I found a coin that I thought was the rarest thing ever. It was a 1943 penny. Ironically, a steel penny, just like the one we're talking about. I got so excited, thinking I had discovered treasure. I ran to my dad, and he was like, "That's just a 1943 penny. They made a bunch of those, kiddo." But I was so sure it was a rare find. I spent a week trying to convince my friends to trade their entire comic book collections for it. Spoiler alert, it wasn't worth much at all. But hey, at least I was ahead of my time, right? Fast forward to today, and now we're talking about another penny with some real potential, back to the 1970 penny. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The mistake that occurred in 1970, pennies struck with no copper, wasn't immediately spotted. It's believed that only a handful of these pennies were released into circulation, and because of this, they became a coin collector's dream. Fast forward to the present, and the value of a 1970 penny with this error is hovering around $2.3 million. It's not like you're just going to find this penny lying around on the sidewalk. No, no. If you've got one, you're going to have to take a closer look. Check your pennies, look for any signs of wear, and get yourself a magnifying glass. You want to make sure it's the real deal before you get too excited. And don't just rely on Google for what the penny should look like. Get it authenticated by a professional. The condition of the penny is just as important as the rarity of the mint error. If your 1970 penny is in poor condition, it could still be worth a couple $100. But if it's in mint condition, well, you could be looking at a serious payday. So, before you toss those pennies into your piggy bank or let them clutter your couch cushions, take a closer look. You never know when you might strike gold, or, should I say, strike steel. If you find a 1970 penny with that elusive error, you could be holding on to a $2.3 million treasure. Not bad for a coin that costs less than a cup of coffee, right? If you've learned something new today, or if you're just as excited as I am about finding hidden treasure in your spare change, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll be back with more tips, tricks, and coin hunting stories to help you make your collection more valuable, and maybe even put a few million in your pocket.